Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Geek and Seek. Tonight is our March Madness special. I'm Tom Sportsman.
And I'm Steve McBalls with a Z.
And tonight we're going to be going over the top 16 commanders, as according to EDH Rec. The winner of each round was voted on by you, the subscribers. Without further ado, let's get into it.
So wait, we're not talking about basketball?
Did you think we were talking about basketball?
It's March Madness.
Yeah, but this is a Magic channel. What do you think we were doing?
Let's get into it!
Up first, we have Krenko Mob Boss versus Go-Shintai of Life's Origin.
So Krenko, Mob Boss, is for 2 and 2 red, 3/3 legendary creature Goblin Warrior. You can tap him to create X 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control.
And Go-Shintai of Life's Origin, for 3 and a green, you can pay 1 of each color to tap it and return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And whenever Go-Shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. So those are the competitors for round 1. Let's see the results. 57% for Krenko Mob Boss and 43% for Go-Shintai of Life's Origin. Winner is Krenko. Steven, what do you think about these results?
Well, I will say, at least from personal experience, Krenko is much more of a popular commando compared to Go-Shintai, so that does not surprise me.
Yeah, of course, he's a simple, fun little goblin dude that just likes to create a bunch of goblins. Easy, simple, fun magic.
Next up in round 2, we have Kynareth, the Return King, versus Kalia of the Vast.
That's right. Kynareth, the Return King, for 4 and a white. He does a lot of things. He's a 5/5 legendary creature, human noble. For 1 red, all creatures gain trample and haste until the end of turn. For 1 colorless and 1 green, you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. For 2 colorless and 1 white, target player gains 5 life. For 3 colorless and 1 blue, target player draws a card. And for 4 colorless and 1 black, you can put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under its owner's control.
That's right, Tom. And then up against him is Kalia of the Vast. For 1, a red, a white, and a black. It is a 2/2 legendary creature human cleric with flying. Whenever Kalia of the Vast attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent.
Alright, those are the competitors, and let's see the results for round 2. And the winner is Kalia with 62% of the vote against Kynareth with 38% of the vote. I'm not really surprised by this because Kynareth, while fun, 5-color commander, but mainly a group hug player or a group hug commander. While that can be a fun game, you're not going to win a lot of games doing that. So I think that makes sense to me.
Kalia, you'll be cheating in a lot of big creatures, most likely with flying for free, tapped and attacking, and it's a classic OG commander.
Of course. And for round 3, we have Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, versus Wilhelt, the Rot Cleaver.
Yuriko is a blue and a black. It's a 1/3 legendary creature, human ninja. Commander ninjutsu for a blue and a black. Return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand or the command zone, tapped and attacking. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost.
And Wilhelt, the Rot Cleaver, for 2, a blue and a black, is a 3/3 zombie warrior. Whenever another zombie you control dies, if it didn't have Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed, which means that it can't block, and when it attacks, you must sacrifice it at the end of combat. And at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a zombie. If you do, draw a card. So Steven, who do you think is going to win this one?
You see, Tom, we have the classic matchup of ninjas versus zombies. I'm going to think in real life a ninja would beat a zombie. But this is Magic, not the real world. So my money is going to be on the zombies.
Well, I think that zombies always have the advantage of numbers, so we'll see. With the results for round 3, the winner, of course, is Wilhelt with 59% of the vote to Yuriko's 41%. What do you think about these results?
Makes sense, Tom, from what I just said.
They have the advantage in numbers, and overwhelming numbers is always a fun thing to try and fight against. So
that's facts, Tom.
On to round 4. A couple powerhouse commanders here. We have the Dragon and Edgar Markov.
2 commanders from the 2017 pre-con.
Yeah, so the Dragon for 4 and 1 of each color, a 10/10 dragon avatar with eminence. As long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost one less to cast. He has flying, and whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield.
That's right, Tom. And then we have Edgar Markov for 3, a red, a white, and a black. 4/4, legendary creature, Vampire Knight. Eminence. Whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar Markov is in the command zone or on the battlefield, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token. Edgar Markov has first strike and haste, and whenever Edgar Markov attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control.
That's right. We got a couple of powerhouses here from the Commander 2017 set with the pre-con decks for that. A couple of very, very powerful commanders. 2 eminence abilities. Anytime that goes against each other, it's going to be some fun and really scary magic to watch happen.
You're basically going to see in this one dragons versus vampires, and my money's going to be on the dragons as they typically tend to be a little bit bigger in size.
I agree with that, but Edgar Markov is one of my favorite, one of my personal favorite commanders. But let's see how the results shake out, shall we? The results for round 4. With 58% of the vote, the winner is the Dragon against 42% for Edgar Markov. Now this does disappoint me a little bit because, like I said, Edgar Markov is personally one of my favorite commanders. But Steven, I think you were in the right of it. Dragons are just powerful.
This is a scenario where if you had dragons in real life versus vampires in real life.
And we'll let that speak for itself. On to round 5.
Prosper, Tome Bound versus Atraxa, Praetor's Voice.
With Prosper, he is he costs 2, a black and a red. He's a 1/4 Tiefling Warlock. He's from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, Dungeons & Dragons crossover. He's got Death Touch, an ability called Mystic Arcanum, which at the beginning of your end step, you exile the top card of your library, and until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. He's also got Pact Boon, which means whenever you play a card from exile, you create a treasure token.
Up against Prosper Tomebound is Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. For green, a white, a blue, and a black. Legendary Angel Horror, power and toughness for each. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink. And at the beginning of your end step, proliferate.
Prosper's fun. I've played that deck. It's fun to be able to just exile stuff and play it anytime you want. But I think Atraxa is going to take this one. That's just some very powerful keyword abilities there, and then an even more powerful proliferate ability that just, I don't know.
Atraxa is
a
horrifying creature in of itself, as many abilities as it has. That with the fact that it has proliferate, I think will most likely end up taking Prosper Tomebound in round 5.
All right, well, let's see the results, shall we? Ooh, this was a close one. An upset here. We have 51% of the vote goes to Prosper. 49% goes to Atraxa. Now, I'm surprised at this one, Steven. I mean...
Yeah. Dude, I'm totally the same.
Well, it wouldn't be March Madness without some early upset victories, now would it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this goes out to all the, I don't know, KU fans out there because KU choked super early.
Hey, listen, that's personal. All right, for round 6, we have Milrym, Sentinel Wyrm versus Lathril, Blade of the Elves.
Milrym, Sentinel Wyrm is for 3, a green, a blue, and a red. It's a 6/6 legendary creature, Dragon Spirit, with flying and ward 2. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary.
Lathril, Blade of the Elves, for 2, a black and a green, is a 2/3 legendary elf noble with menace. Whenever Lathril, Blade of the Elves deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, and then you can tap it and tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life, and you gain 10 life. This is an interesting one. Both of these are fun decks to play, so Steven, what do you think?
Well, Tom, let me tell you. Whatever dragon you have Milrym in the deck, you're going to have 2 of the same, whether they're legendary or not. With Lathril, you're going to be able to create a bunch of elves, which is already you're going to be playing an elf tribal deck. You're going to hopefully be able to use Lathril's bottom ability to gain a bunch of life and deal a bunch of damage to each opponent. So I could see this one being pretty close.
Yeah, I think this one could be pretty close. Of course, I must note, ignoring the legendary rule is a very powerful ability in Commander, where tends to be a lot of legend cards in each deck, and so being able to just kind of ignore that, especially with dragons, which are very powerful to begin with. I think Milrym's going to take this one, but let's see the results. Ooh, with a decisive victory, Milrym, 69% of the vote, over Lathril with 31%. I gotta say, I'm not really surprised by this. Like I mentioned, ignoring the legend rule, it's hard to get around for opponents to deal with.
That's right, Tommy, and that is very nice. On to round 7, we have Omnath, Locus of Creation versus Ishin, 2 heavens as 1.
That's right, Omnath, Omnith, Locus of Creation for 1 red, 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue. He's a 4/4 legendary elemental. When he enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and he has a landfall ability. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, gain 4 life. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn, if it's the second time, you add 1 of each of Omnith's colors, and if it's the third time, Omnith deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control.
Up against Omnath is Ishin, 2 heavens as 1 for a red, a white, and a black. He is a 3/4 legendary creature, human samurai. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Now, I do know my boy Tommy over here has a hard on for Ishin. So.
What? Excuse me? Ishin is one of my personal favorite commanders. I've played him a lot, and just the ability to double attack triggers is pretty powerful and pretty versatile. So you can do a lot of things with him. Whereas Omnith, he can just do a lot with, depending on how many landfall triggers have already happened this turn, can get surprisingly powerful very, very quickly. As much as I would love to say Ishin is the clear favorite, I don't think he is. I think this one could be a toss-up. So let's check the results, shall we? For round 7, the results. 61% of the vote goes to Ishin, 2 heavens as 1, against Omnith's 39% of the vote. And I gotta say, I like both of these commanders. Ishin is probably my favorite of the two, so I'm glad to see. I'm happy to see these results. What about you, Steven?
I love Omnath. I love all the landfall triggers. So it does sadden me to say that Ishin beat Omnath in this round, but Ishin by itself is also a very unique commander.
Let's move on to the final round of the Sweet 16.
Round 8, we have Korvold, Fey Cursed King versus Muldrotha the Gravetide.
Couple of powerhouses here. Korvold, Fey Cursed King for 2 black, red, and green. He's a 4/4 legendary dragon noble. We got a lot of dragons on this list. He has flying. Whenever Korvold, Fey Cursed King enters the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Korvold and draw a card.
And versus Korvold, we have Muldrotha the Gravetide for 3, a black, a green, and a blue. He's a 6/6 legendary creature, elemental avatar. During each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard.
These are 2 that I'm not as familiar with. I've played against Muldrotha. I've never played either of these decks, so I'm curious to see what these results are going to show. What about you, Steven?
I am interested as well. Korvold wants you to sacrifice a lot of your creatures. Muldrotha wants you to take a lot of your cards and put it into your graveyard so that you can cast it later. With somewhat similar themes of getting rid of stuff, at least. I could see this going either way.
Yeah, I think this will be interesting. Let's see the results. Another close one.
Muldrotha takes the cake.
With 55% of the vote, Muldrotha the Gravetide against 45% for Korvold, Fey Cursed King. So that's it. That's it for round 8, the final round of the Sweet 16 here. What do you think about this one, Steven?
Muldrotha I've seen be used in a couple different ways, and it is a very nasty commander to go up against compared to Korvold, which I've never seen anyone use it before.
Korvold sounds fun, but just couldn't pull out over Muldrotha this round.
The people have voted.
People have decided. Let's move on.
We are now at the Elite 8. On round 9, we have Krenko Mob Boss versus Kalia of the Vast. We've already talked about these commanders. So, I think between the two, kind of because of what I see as a casual player seeing in popularity, I think Krenko would probably take the cake over Kalia, although I personally think Kalia is more fun.
I don't know. I like Krenko, I like Kalia, I like both of these, and so it's going to be a tough one. Let's check out the results. Results for round 9. Kalia of the Vast barely ekes it out with 53% of the vote over 47% for Krenko Mob Boss. So Krenko goes down in the second round here, and that's surprising to me. I know Krenko is a big fan favorite out there of Commander players. You're happy about these results, correct? You like Kalia a lot.
Suck it, Krenko.
Anyway.
Next up, in round 10, we have Wilhet the Rot Cleaver versus the Dragon. Racing due to zombies versus dragons. Now, kind of what I said earlier when we had dragons versus vampires. I would think, as I have demonstrated earlier, that the dragons would take the cake on this one. I think the overall power level is a little bit higher.
I gotta agree with you on this one. As much as zombies are fun, Dragon, he's a real powerhouse. Making other dragons cheaper is always powerful. So I think Dragon, just for sheer power of the dragon tribe, I think is gonna take the cake on this one. Let's see the results. Wow,
that is very close.
That was a very close round.
Couldn't be closer.
With 51% of the vote, Dragon takes it over Wilhelt. The results on paper, as far as who won, not surprised. What is surprising is that margin. It's very close.
Very close indeed, Tommy. Round 11, we have Prosper Tomebound versus Milrym Sentinel Wyrm. I'm honestly surprised Prosper made it this far, especially versus Milrym Sentinel Wyrm. I don't think he stands a chance in this round. What do you think?
I didn't think he was going to get past Atraxa in the last round, but he did. A lot of surprises here, but I think I got to go with Milrym on this one. I've played against Milrym. Very, very powerful. Let's see the results.
Yeah.
Ooh, a decisive victory for Milrym Sentinel Wyrm.
Very decisive.
63% of the vote, over 37% for Prosper. I gotta say, I'm not really surprised by these results. As much as I like Prosper, I've played that deck, it's fun, but Milrym, man, he's powerful. Round 12, we have Ishin Two Heavens is One versus Muldrotha the Gravetide. This is tough for me.
This is tough for you.
Ishin is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, he is.
I love Ishin as a commander. I love that deck. Muldrotha has a lot of power to it, so I don't know.
My mind is going to be on Muldrotha. As much as I know it would sadden you to not see Ishin move forward, I think Muldrotha's going to take this one. Let's see the end results. Seeing the end results. Oh.
Wow.
Looks like Ishin takes it.
My man Ishin pulls forward with 56% of the vote to 44% for Muldrotha. I'm not going to lie. I love Ishin, but I'm a little bit surprised by this one. I feel like Muldrotha has been around a long time and is a fan favorite of a lot of people's. Seeing Muldrotha go down to Ishin, who's a bit newer of a commander and I don't see played as often, is a little surprising to me.
You get a bunch of surprises in March Madness.
Round 13, we're on to the final four.
On to the final four.
Here's where it gets real.
We're getting into it now, baby.
For the first round of the final four, we have Kalia of the Vast versus the Dragon.
Kalia utilizing angels, demons, and dragons, whereas the Dragon just being dragons. But with the Dragon power level, I could see it going either way, honestly.
I think I'm going to put my money a little bit more on the side of Kalia. Even though Dragon has an Eminence ability, I think being able to cast Kalia earlier is going to be helpful. The fact you have more flexibility and the fact that instead of just lessening the cost, you just get to cheat out stuff is going to be a big factor in this. Let's see the results. Ooh.
Dragon takes this one. 56% voted for the Dragon, 44% for Kalia. I love dragons. They're fun. So I can't say that I'm super shocked to see him over Kalia.
I mean, I agree with you. Dragon he's very powerful, fan favorite. He's a lot of people's favorite commander, favorite dragon commander. He's a star, and it's hard to beat star power sometimes. Round 14.
Milrym Sentinel Wyrm versus Ishin Two Heavens as One. Between these two, I could see it being pretty close. Milrym, you can potentially get twice as many dragons, and then with Ishin, you can double the number of effects. Both of them are kind of like ×2, so I could see this going either way.
Yeah, you're looking
Although I will say that I do think power level of dragons might be a little bit higher.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for this, you're kind of going for just overwhelming force with either of these. I'll mention it again with Milrym. You get to ignore that pesky legendary rule in Commander, so I think that...
It's so pesky.
It's so pesky, and I think that's definitely a notch for Milrym. Let's check out the results. Ooh.
That pesky Ishin.
Sorry. With 56% of the vote, Milrym Sentinel Wyrm takes it over Ishin Two Heavens is One. As much as it saddens me to see my main man Ishin go down, I understand it. Milrym is very, very powerful, very fun deck to play, and so I'm just glad Ishin made it this far. What about you?
I really like Milrym, and I love the idea of doubling stuff, doubling tokens. If you know me with that one deck that I played in that one video that has a couple of thousand views.
Very nice.
Into the championship, the finals, we have two dragon commanders. Who would have guessed? We have the Dragon versus Milrym Sentinel Wyrm. What are your thoughts on this, Tomboy?
And this one's tough. The Dragon, he's a classic, been around for a long time and very, very powerful. He's cut his teeth for sure. He's shown himself in the commander sphere to be very powerful.
Brushed him, flossed those teeth.
Milrym, a much newer commander, but I mean, he's got some power. Two dragons, a legendary battle this will be.
This is going to be a close one. Let's see how close it is. In fact, what you guys voted for, the top commander out of the 16 most popular, is Milrym. Takes it. 53 for Milrym. The Dragon had 47%. What are your thoughts about Milrym's victory here?
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised. Dragon, like I said, has been around a while and has been cemented in the hearts of commander players all over, and so to see Milrym, a much newer commander, take the cake here is a little bit surprising. But you know what?
But it is always great to get to see the new blood just annihilate the old school, isn't that right, Tom?
Now, to be fair, 53 to 47 is not exactly annihilation.
You're
but
right. It was a very close battle between the two.
It is always nice to see young blood getting it in there. So,
well, that's all the time we have for today.
Thank you so very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe. Check out our Discord and Patreon if you want to take part in our Spell Table or Magic Online series. We'd love to have you over there. And as always, stay geeky.
Kind of like that. Stay geeky. You bunch of nerds.